Well, a little bit of behind-the-scenes action there as we get ready for this week in the SFL, or SFL this week as I'm trying to call it, with Mike O'Neill. I'm Cameron Irvine. What a great week 2, Mike. How was your weekend?
It was good, man. It was good. Caught a lot of SFL action in the middle of redoing a condo, so always fun.
Yeah, it was really great. A lot of good action this week. Before we get into the headlines, Mike, what caught your attention from week 2?
Man, I know we're going to talk about it at some point. There's the whole Dwayne Salmons deal, right? There's Houston in a 1-point defeat over Queen City. That was a crazy game. But for me, I think what sticks out, I definitely have to go with Houston. The balance of that running back duo is so impressive.
Just Resign in the chat saying, and Tech beating Cam again. Yep, you are absolutely right. But let us know how we're sounding out there. Hopefully our levels are a little bit more equal than they were to start the show last week. But week 2 is nearing an end. Baltimore and Seattle tonight. We can't wait for that. But first, we've got awesome 10-game slate of games to recap from this week. And here are your week 2 headlines. The Cardiac Kings. Jacksonville kicks 3 field goals in the final 5 minutes to force and win it in overtime. And Mike, look, offense. After being shut out in week 1, Arizona dumps 41 points on the Lycans, who fall to 0-2. And look, defense. Canton couldn't pitch a shutout, but does hold the second straight opponent out of the end zone. That was Indianapolis. Vancouver had a few players return to San Diego. They played well. Mateo Bravado scored the first 2 touchdowns. And the Legion improved to 2-0. And I don't know if you can tell on the screen, Mike, but Salmons has $signs with his S's there on the headline. But he earned his contract this week, set the single game yards mark for this season in a Revolution win. So apparently our mouths are not matching our words, and we are in a karate movie, says Mike St. Green. But we're just going to we're going to roll with it. Yeah, we're going to roll with it. But of those headlines, Mike, what was the most interesting to you?
Oh man, it's got to be Canton. It's got to be Canton's defense. That is impressive to keep. It's hard enough, to stop opponents in the SFL because we got so many good coaches in this league. It's hard enough to stop them from scoring, but 2 weeks in a row to keep an opponent out of end zones like that's really hats off to you, Canton. That's great.
All right, let's get to the highlights. And first, we begin with the big-time game that was hyped all week long. And we start with Mike St. Green because I'm contractually obligated as his friend now to give him a highlight once a show. Mike St. Green, beautiful catch in traffic, but Houston could only get field goals out of it. 6-0. The Headhunters are up, and Joseph Budette making a nice play, breaking a tackle, getting down to the 4-yard line. This was such a defensive ball game for most of this night, but Queen City would end up getting the first touchdown on the board. They had the early momentum, Mike.
Yeah, they did. I mean, you can see it right there on the fullback dive, right? Diving in, I love that play call there on the line of scrimmage, and this is something that we didn't see from Queen City last season, just the ability to be able to command the run game.
Tony Zoma with that touchdown, 7-6, Queen City on top. 4 minutes to go in the second half, and Dave Burr is going to be picked off by none other than Alex Marshall. What a difference maker. This guy has been to this Corsairs organization. He makes the play. Now 10-9 in the third quarter. Queen City up by 1. Eric Price rolls out, and this is just inexcusable defense. Mike, why is a linebacker in the end zone covering on a pass play? It's such a bizarre occurrence. We'll get another look at it.
Yeah, it really is a bizarre occurrence. I mean, a linebacker going back there, and this is realistically, this is exactly what Queen City wanted drawn up. If you can get a wide receiver matched up on a linebacker, I mean, the chances of that happening go up way, way more because corners know better than that.
So on second down and goal, it's William McDowell. So Tony Zoma and William McDowell with touchdowns. Jet Zero getting iced out here. 17-9, Queen City on top. They got the ball back late in the third quarter. And look, Eric Price rolling to his right again. And look who snuck out the back door. Jet Zero all the way down to the 31-yard line. More creativity from the Queen City offense, but watch this stop. Bam! Right at the line of scrimmage on third down and goal. Queen City would have to settle for a field goal, and that would be crucial because Houston mounted a comeback. GP Wells, your SFL league leading rusher, with the touchdown. Chad Stinson gets hurt on the defensive line. Houston fails the 2-point conversion, but gets a defensive stop and gets the ball back. Dave Burr down the field. Hey, we can do it too. Deep shot down the field to GP Wells for the first down as Houston trails by just 5. They are in scoring position. Now Burr going to Mike St. Green down to the
catch.
1. Down to the 1. If he was a little younger, maybe he would have scored. 30 seconds to go in the fourth. First down and goal now. Houston has a chance to take the lead. They bring in Iman Kopech, the backup quarterback, to hand it off to Wells. A little trickery as Houston takes the lead. And look at that. Go get trophies, Headhunters. 21-20, final play. And look at the catch, Adrian Ellis, but you got to get down. He doesn't. The clock hits zeros. What a classic, Mike. 21-20. The Houston Headhunters come back from a 20-9 deficit to get the win. Your thought, this lived up to the hype, this pair of undefeateds in week 2.
It did. It really did. And who would have thought, right? Like, I mean, a couple seasons ago, you say Houston and Queen City, right, has game of the week potential, and that's amazing. That just goes to show you the diversity season in and season out of the SFL. And it goes to show you that these teams have done a really good job bringing in the right pieces to make their teams relevant. So, couple things I want to unpack here. Number one, CB3, Chris Britton, was all over. I don't know if you watched that game, Cam, but I think he had like 11 tackles or something like that. He was all over the field. Again, I wrote down Houston's halfback duo seems to be the most balanced in the league. And for QCC, look, there's no panic. I mean, still really, really impressive start. I would have liked to see a little bit more balance into the run game. I mean, if you look at it, Jet Zero average 4 yards per carry in that game. You got to give him a little bit more carries than 12. He had success in it. Just balance it out. And look, these are both young teams, but one thing I will say that stands out, that Houston defense, it looks a little different this season. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that considering that, the fact that Queen City did pass so much shows that they were unafraid, but it also shows that they were pretty afraid of that front seven as well, as they tried to squeeze some passes into some tight throwing lanes to move the football. And ultimately, they didn't move the football enough because they failed to come away with the win. So that was a big win for Houston to get to 2-0, and they're at home again next week. They start with a 3-game homestand. $5 super chat from Alex Marshall. 2 games and 2 bangers. Flex to Monday night soon? Question mark. Who knows? What is flex? Yeah. Flex begins in week 9, I think, Mike. So we'll have to see. But Queen City is on the right track for sure. All right, to Charleston, where the Charleston Predators hosted the Jacksonville Kings. We picked this one up late in the first quarter, where Nick Hoagland sneaks out of the backfield on first down and goal and makes the catch. O.J. Bruin standing tall in the pocket, but finding Jacob Clear as that ball was just a little bit too far out in front of rookie Dot Williams. So Charleston up 7-0 with the football, and John Lakeman is brought down by Tyquan Hale. Hale very close to a major milestone in the SFL. A savvy veteran makes a great play, but Jacksonville couldn't get off the field because on 3rd and 16, John Lakeman does that. Charleston needs more of that, Mike.
Absolutely, Charleston needs more of that. They need to find, and that was just a good play call, too. They had a defensive end in coverage there, Cam, Jacksonville.
Benjamin Warner with the catch, and then Nick Hoagland gets touchdown number 2. Youngvot to weak, 14-0. Charleston takes the lead early in the second quarter, and this looked like this was going to be a snoozer, but Jacksonville responds. Look at the blocks from the offensive line, just smashing people. Shepard Vakarian with the touchdown, 14-7. Jacksonville is in this thing. O.J. Bruin, the best quarterback outside the pocket in this league. What a dime to Jim Copeland Jr., first and goal, down to the 3-yard line. Just love watching O.J. Bruin play.
He's so electric, isn't he? Outside of the pocket, he is definitely one of the best, if not the best in the league, like you said.
Pitch out, Sean Sanders, one of your favorite running backs to watch, as he gets the toss untouched for the score. 17-14. Now, late in the game, oh my goodness, O.J. Bruin sacked out of field goal range, but a personal foul face mask puts him right back in it. What a critical penalty for Charleston. That was the game, because Jacksonville tied the game, went to overtime, won the coin toss, got it out to Connor Weston to his own 47-yard line. And Jacksonville is close. 2nd down and 4. Trying to get into field goal range. Sean Sanders doesn't need Williams for the block. 1st down. Moves the sticks. And then Bruin makes the play. Watch O.J. Bruin here trying to get into field goal range. Look at him scramble outside the pocket with that awesome precision to Connor Weston down to the 24-yard line. First down, Jacksonville in scoring range. And on third down and inches as the sun continued to set off the beach in South Carolina, 31-yard field goal for Jordan Bradshaw. It would be his third in the last 7 minutes of this ball game. Money right down the middle. And Jacksonville wins 23-20. It's the second 23-20 loss for Charleston to start the season. Both games in division, Mike. So are they 0-2 because of a fluke, or are they 0-2 because they have issues? What do you think?
No, they're 0-2. Okay, so I can't speak on game one, but speaking specifically on this game, Charleston has a very, very young coach in Hartshorn, right? This is a team that maybe isn't as disciplined as they need to be right now. They had a massive offseason, right? They brought in a lot of key pieces, and I wrote this down, some of my notes. I mean, this is a coach who is 0-2 to start right now for Charleston, but his team hasn't played like an 0-2 team. They've played pretty well. They've looked pretty well across the board, and sometimes when you have too much talent, it makes finding an identity hard. Charleston, really, I think it just comes down to cleaning up the discipline, being a little bit more disciplined. You can't give up a face mask penalty in a situation like that. It comes down to being a little bit more disciplined and, just having to work out the kinks. I think Charleston's going to be A-okay. I think this all chalks up to young coaching, and I think the fact that they have lost both of these games this closely against two pretty, Jacksonville, you could say maybe not the strongest competitor after last season's showing, but, they definitely looked really, really quality in that game against Charleston, considering how Charleston played, against Florida in week one. So chalk it up to discipline issues, chalk it up to a new coach, whatever you want to, but don't worry about Charleston because they're going to be okay.
Yeah, Charleston has a really talented backfield, but they've never been an explosive running team. I'd like to see more explosivity out of the backfield from Hoagland, Storm, Brad Taylor Wright, Terrell Sutherland. They got a lot of pieces there. Then you get some play action working, and Davius Reed and Benjamin Warner is one of the best 1-2 punches in the league. I almost said the best, but E.J. Minson and Stephen Hacker are now on the same team.
Pretty good.
So,
pretty good.
They're pretty good. But yeah, I'd like to see some new wrinkles there for Charleston, but I think they're going to be fine. Like you said, they're not playing like an 0-2 team. They have the most depth in the league, so injuries are not going to bother them. Losing any players during the season is not going to bother them. Right?
Early season jitters.
Yeah,
that's it.
Exactly.
Early season jitters.
Exactly. So, all right, back to the highlights. Now we go to Arizona, where Los Angeles and Arizona were dueling, and this was a great start to Arizona's day because DJ Moses looked like the DJ Moses of old. Nice run there. Now third down and 8, down 3-0 early in the first, and Ashley Jackson just started to cook. There's one of the Hands brothers. I can never get there. They wear 11 and 12. Somebody's got to wear an 80-something. But the other Hands brothers, I believe, James Hands going to catch this touchdown right there, 7-3. Arizona takes the lead. And super chat from Eddie that we'll get to in a moment. So still same score. Sully Richardson rolls out of the pocket. There's Eddie Gage. Oh, it's going to be a pick six. Well, close. He got all the way down to the LA 30. Well, almost there at the 30. So Ashley Jackson, what can she do with it? Finds Hands once again. Oh, gosh, wide open. You can't do that as a defense. Touchdown, his second of the first half. Arizona's up 14-3, and you're thinking, this game is about to get out of hand. But then, Bubba Tree on the kick return. Mike O'Neill, this is the explosivity for LA that just makes them so scary.
Yeah, Bubba Tree, I mean, how do you...
Didn't even get touched.
I mean, the speed, untouched. I mean, that's got... That's one for the record books right there. I mean, a kick return completely untouched just shows you the explosiveness of that player. And Bubba Tree, I mean, 99, ultimately one of the fastest receivers in the SFL, and that's what you get out of it.
Just bonkers. 14-10, Arizona now. LA sending pressure. Whoop! Look at Ashley Jackson. Are you serious? What a run. That's one of the best quarterback runs I've seen in a long time. Arizona gets a field goal. They go up 17-10. Kick returners giveth and taketh away. Bubba Tree, ensuing kickoff, popped. And look who it is, Mike Churchill on special teams, doing a little bit of dancing, making a little love, maybe, I don't know. 24-10, Arizona. takes a 14-point lead, but LA comes back. Brendan Brennanstall with the touchdown. The rookie getting in the end zone. 24-17, 2 minutes to go in the first half, and LA's right back in this thing. Coach Richardson loving it on the sideline. Look at this little play. Outside to Logan Jack. Jack slips a tackle, gets a block, and then a misread by Iverson Gamble, and Logan Jack's in the end zone. 24-24, we are tied. At this point, it was the second highest scoring game of the season, and we hadn't even hit the fourth quarter. Look at that dive. Look at that dive.
What a ball.
TJ Punk from Ashley Jackson right in the corner pocket, 31-24. It was all Arizona in the second half. Jay Ballmer getting high, 41-27, Arizona with the victory. They beat Los Angeles. What a wild game, but Arizona found some offense, and that's the week one snafus, right, Mike? I mean, you just never know what you're going to get. Arizona came out in something that did not suit them well against Canton, but they were much more crisp here in this one.
Yeah, I mean, and this is something Arizona needed to do. They needed to come out and prove to everybody that they're still that team. It's listen, Canton's defense, we're going to talk about them at some point. Canton's defense is good this season. And Arizona, you can chalk it up to a week one, really, like you just said. But week two, for Arizona to come out and put up these type of points, if you're an Arizona fan, you should feel rest assured right now, for sure.
$10 super chat from Eddie Gage, Arizona. I love y'all. Game ball to fullback Jay Ballmer, earning his first win as an SFL assistant coach. And that is Eddie Gage 20th super chat on our live stream.
Right on.
So, right on, exactly. Ashley Jackson caught up with EJ to Q and Jay Ballmer after the game. We'll hear a little bit from her and them on PGI.
All right, and welcome back to PGI, where I am joined with two members of the Arizona Scorpions coming fresh off a win over the Los Angeles Vikings. I have Mr. EJ the Q. He is a member of one of the best O-linemen in the entire league, as well as Mr. Jay Ballmer, fullback and assistant coach for the Arizona Scorpions. How are you doing today, gentlemen?
I'm good. Awesome. Feeling awesome right now.
I know you are. Hey, anytime you come off of a dominant performance like you had last night, or like we had last night, it's an amazing experience to behold. Got a couple of questions for you guys. So what do you think were the keys to Arizona's success last night? Because LA is a very good team. And I'll start with you first, EJ.
At one point, the big reason that we did as well as we did, the Red Sea. My fellow O-lineman, at one point we had 9 runs in a single series, and you don't get those runs without the blocking up front and your halfbacks and fullbacks finding those holes. I know at one point the graphic said 59 runs that particular series, and yes, I clipped it, and I know it was a typo, but it was good. Yeah. And the fact that we've got running back by committee. We've got Bismarck Wright. We've got Amari Cooper. We've got Jay Ballmer in there. And we've got the king, DJ Moses, leading us all the way through to that promised land. Also, we finally got some receptions. I know that Donnie Hands had 2 receiving touchdowns in that first half. That makes it, if we get both the air game and the ground game going, we win.
Indeed. I think that was James, though.
Was it James? I thought it was Donnie, but okay.
Anyway,
I ended up dead.
All good. Jay, what do you think some of the keys to success were for Arizona?
Well, to me, it's like having a well-balanced offense no matter what. Offense did incredibly good last night. Defense-wise, these picks that Everett Garrison made were incredible. I am so happy that the defense was doing good. We didn't give up that many points. I'm okay with that, but defense was perfect. All I wanted was just a well-balanced offense to get that run game going.
Definitely. And even controlling the fourth quarter specifically, I think, had a lot to do with some of the keys to success as well. I mean, if you hold the ball for 7 minutes and 30 seconds, and
Oh yeah.
that's a game right there, pretty much.
That's 70% of a quarter. Yeah, it's hard to come back when you can't get the ball for that much.
Exactly. One more thing for both of you. So, EJ, you are a member of one of the best old linemen, old lineman camaraderies in the league. However, you did miss last night. So,
Dude came off me, and the worst part was it was on the stinking slow-mo replay. I couldn't even hide from that, man. That was me.
hey, but outcome is still a good outcome. But what keeps you being an O lineman? Because it's not necessarily a glamorous position.
Oh no. There is the only stat that we have is the amount of sacks you didn't take, and that's how do you track that? Yeah, you know the story. I was originally on D-line. I was eating quarterbacks back in season 12. Was it season 12, season 11? I had the lead for sacks at that point. I came over here, retired. I came back. First game back, you were running like a scared rabbit. I was on the horn to Eddie, going, Eddie, give me a different jersey. I don't care. I got to save AJ. That's why. I am here to keep my quarterback upright and her uniform clean, and that is how I measure my success, is did AJ get obliterated, or did AJ have the time to do her job? If AJ's got the time to do her job, the wins come. If she's running like a scared rabbit, we got other problems that we got to fix, RDM. That's right damn now.
Well, that's it. And I just, thank you so much for all you guys do. Again, it is a thankless position, but it is an important position because we would not have the success that we've had over the past seasons without you guys. So
Look at
everybody, thank you for all you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at the comparisons of the sack numbers from like season 10 and 11 and 12 to when they did start allowing O linemen. At that point, all O linemen were generics, and all defensive linemen. I was on at the time, the Pride. Dang it, name just Tallahassee Pride. I knew it would come back to me. That we were one of the first teams to have 4 contract D linemen, and quarterbacks hated us because there was no getting away.
Yeah. And that's the keys, again, to successful organizations. And even in your positions, man, we couldn't do it without you. So I appreciate it.
Hey, I'm just part of 5 keeping you up.
That's it. Jay, you had your first touchdown last night. How did that feel?
That felt good to at least finally get a rushing touchdown. I've been trying so hard to get one, no matter what. Even when I was with Jacksonville, couldn't get one. I was so close to getting one, and then just give it to Sanders or Shepard for carrying and let them get a touchdown. But hey, first one of this season, and as an Arizona Scorpion.
Awesome. One more question for you specifically, Jay. Has it been what type of transition has it been for you since you have become an assistant coach now for the Arizona Scorpions? Is it different from when you were coaching in the minors, or is it pretty much the same thing?
Well, to me, it's pretty much the same thing when I was coaching in the minors. Everything, have to do the same thing over and over again. Know what the defense is doing, know what the offense is doing. I know basically almost everything. But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
Okay, cool. Well, it's a pleasure to have you as members of the Arizona Scorpions. Great win last night, gentlemen, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else we can do for the rest of the season.
Let's get that ring.
Indeed.
Oh yeah.
Indeed. Y'all have a good night.
All righty.
Thank you. Back-
Thank you, Ashley. And EJ may have clipped my 59 runs error, but he clipped the heck out of that mic too. But Mike, we need more offensive linemen like him, man. The enthusiasm that he shares for the position is just top notch.
We definitely need more of that. It's fun to watch, and Arizona's got themselves a good one over there for sure.
Yeah. All right, back to the highlights. Great stuff, Ashley. Thank you for that. Down to Fort Worth, where we started the week. What an interesting game. This was a huge play right here. The pick, the fumble, right back into the hands of the Toros. We'll get another look at it, but at this point, Minnesota was up 3-0 with 3 minutes to go in the first. They had all the momentum, and they never got it back after this.
That was one of the craziest plays I've ever seen. The commentators didn't even realize it happened until it flashed, and they were like, whoa, what?
Yeah, Mike Daggs and Gerald Smith were thrown for a loop there. E.J. Minson diving catch into the end zone. The way that they got Minson and Hacker involved throughout the night was tremendous. T. DeQueen set career highs in receptions and yards. She scores a touchdown with her new team. Minnesota's first game of the season. Legend go up 10-7. Look at Hacker sliding his way into the end zone. This is outside the numbers stuff that Fort Worth is doing with Hacker and Minson, really mixing it up now. Here comes Dunhill on a rollout, and it doesn't matter that there's pass interference because Minson caught it anyway. 1:10 to go in the second quarter. How about quarterback draw out of the shotgun for Marcus Dunhill and the lead? Remember, with 1:10 to go in the first half, it was 14-10. Interception, 32 seconds to go in the half. You think, well, Fort Worth doesn't have enough time. But they have all 3 timeouts, 32 seconds left, and they only needed 2 of those timeouts because Marcus Dunhill would hand it off to J.Z. Bacon. And just like that, it was 28-10 Fort Worth at the break. They pounced on Minnesota and took all that momentum. But it wasn't easy. 28-13, 3 minutes to go in the fourth. Baited. Johnny Bravo gives Marcus Dunhill an impression that he's got a wide open Hacker, not to be pick 6. What a play.
That's got to be one of the best pick six we've seen in a few seasons. It is definitely lights out.
2-point conversion failed and too little too late. How about that one-handed pick from Tavius Gordon? And he gets the tremendous stop. Fort Worth gets the win, 31-19. All right, time to go over some of the routes from the weekend. Mike, this is always an unfortunate time for the show because we got to talk about teams that just didn't perform. But DC is unbeaten. They have now won 2 games by a combined 38 points, 37-17 over Denver. You look at the stats, not a ton of difference there, but DC rather played a clean game, and they jumped out to a 27-3 lead. So some of those stats were just a little bit skewed there at the end.
Yeah, DC really just showing why they're one of the top teams in the league. I actually, on Around the SFL, I picked Denver to win that one. And look, kudos to DC. I still think Denver's a quality team, but DC has got it figured out. The coaching staff's got it figured out. And the bottom line, I think it all comes down to execution. If you look at the stats across the board in that game, like you said, not too different, but the difference is DC capitalized, right? And they made the most out of their execution and really doing a good job. And Lauren Percoco. Anytime you got Lauren Percoco, let's be real.
She returned an onside kick for a touchdown. What can't she? A tight end? What can't
Unbelievable.
she do? It's crazy. Right. DC is 2-0. They are looking really strong. You asked us not to talk about San Diego on this show. Permission denied. San Diego loses 37-14 to Vancouver. The rush yards, 162 for Vancouver. Second straight game, Vancouver over 150. Their average field position, because of the turnovers, they weren't having to try as hard. San Diego backed up basically to a touchback on average every time. It's hard to win a game like that.
Yeah, and it's hard to win a game when you're turning the ball over. This one comes down to scouting. Give credit where it's due. Vancouver had a really good scouting against us. And look, there was one or two particular plays that come to mind off the top of my head where we were rolling out and they just had it locked down. Johnny Pickler couldn't do anything with it. I'd like to see Johnny Pickler make better decisions in those moments. But look, Vancouver is 2-0. They're a quality team. We knew that they were going to be good coming into this game, so it wasn't surprising that they get the win. But I can assure it won't be the last time we see them.
sometimes one or two plays can kill you, and
absolutely.
there's evidence of that right there. Final route of the weekend, 34-13 Alamo City. This was the most bizarre football game I think I've ever seen. Motor City had 8 more first downs than Alamo City. They had more total yards than Alamo City. They had more passing yards than Alamo City, but lost by 21. Look at that pass yards per attempt, right? 11.1 to 5.9. King Jackson has the strongest arm in the league, but he's not airing it out. Motor City had some terrific long drives in this football game, but Alamo City was too explosive.
Yeah, I think exactly how you just said. Motor City moved the ball well. They moved the ball well, and they looked really good. And I think that Motor City could be poised for, a pretty good season. I think if they can just figure out this, to me, looking at this just tells me red zone. Like, they got to work on the red zone offense. They've got to put points up. They've got to, start learning how to call plays. And believe me, don't think that I'm not taking criticism myself for San Diego. But yeah, they've got to learn how to be able to work against those tighter defenses whenever you get closer to the end zone. There's a lot of optimism, I think, in Motor City right now. But for ACA, business as usual, doing a really good job showing that they haven't skipped a beat since last season.
To be fair to Motor City, I mean, they scored on all their opportunities down there, but it just took them so long to get down there. I think the problem is that they weren't able to do what Alamo City did, which was force them to eat up clock. Alamo City just kind of did whatever they wanted, even though they were only on the field for 45 total plays, and ultimately it just wasn't enough for Motor City to handle. So the V8s fall to 0-2. They played 2 South Division opponents already to start the season, so they are done with the South. They don't have to play the South anymore for the rest of the season.
They're celebrating.
Yeah, so they're celebrating. They're done with that, and they get to move on to a different division of competition. Back to the highlights, and let's go to Indianapolis, where this game was full of defense. Let's start with 21-on-21 crime. Jack Russell on 3rd down and goal makes the stop, forces a Canton field goal, 3-0 late in the first quarter. Now, Scar Patterson rolling out, picked off by Jermaine Menefield. Menefield takes it the other way. It's 3-3 at this point, almost at the end of the first half. So both teams struggling to move the football, and against Canton's defense at this point, that is no surprise. As Colin Pierce drops to throw, that pass is picked off by Evan Lacey. The fans aren't going to like that one. Lacey returns it into scoring position, and that got Canton their best opportunity at points in the first half. And then Jack Wall did the rest. He was money between the hash marks in this game. Indy had no answer for him.
Yeah, Indy really just had no answer, and that defense from Canton was just lights out, man. They were all over the field.
At this point in the game, both teams had only 17 rushing yards, but Logan Lee, who oddly only had 4 carries in this game, gets the touchdown. The opportunities just weren't there for him, but Canton takes the lead 10-3. Now watch Colin Pierce here, 3rd and long. He thinks he has a lane. I don't think so. Dragged down for the sack, 13-3 at the end of the quarter. Canton's defense still 7 quarters in a row of not giving up a touchdown. Now Scar Patterson deep down the field. What a dot right over the outstretched arms of the defense. Ryan Owens. Now it's a rout. 20-3, 8:14 to go in the fourth quarter. Indianapolis tried to get some things going here, but Ryan Roosevelt double covered. They had him blanketed all day. Indy has to settle for a field goal, makes it 20-6. And Canton got the ball back off an onside kick. They ran it all the way down, didn't need any more points. 20 was enough. 20-6. Canton in victory formation. They get the W. And the Canton Classics, no touchdowns allowed to the first 2 games. And even more impressive, Mike, less than 200 yards given up in each of the first 2 games, about 160 in both those games. That's unheard of in the SFL. That is unbelievable. They play Baltimore. They host them next week.
That's got Game of the Week material written all over it, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it, Cam. Hold on, let me take a deep breath. I thought Overreaction Tuesday last week was Canton.
Okay.
I did. I said it on Around the SFL. I thought Overreaction Tuesday was Canton. I thought everybody was overhyped. Week 1, we know what a crapshoot Week 1 can be, right? But to come out here and to play Indianapolis, who had a pretty good game against Atlanta in Week 1, and to hold them 80 yards passing for Colin Pierce. Okay, listen to these stats on defense. 15 tackles for loss,
Wow.
3 sacks, and 1 interception.
Wow.
for that defense. So safe to say that defense is balling out there in Canton, and Overreaction Tuesday this week will not be Canton. So looking forward to that Baltimore-Canton matchup next week, and we can rest assured that everybody in Canton's watching this game tonight.
That's like 25% of their plays.
It's insane.
Were for loss. And Ryan Roosevelt had more yards against Atlanta than Indy had passing yards all this week. Like some of those stats are just bonkers. Just bonkers for Canton. Hats off to them. They are 2-0. You look at that North Division, Canton's 2-0.
It's looking
DC
serious.
is 2-0. Yeah, Baltimore, they don't want to go to 0-2 because that North Division is much tougher this season as it appears. All right, back to the highlights, and we go to Carolina, where more heartache in Raleigh. BDG Hollywood, nice to see him getting it going late in the first quarter here. Nice uniforms, Atlanta. Second down and goal. Why not give it to the guy that got you down there? BDG Hollywood gets the handoff, breaks the tackle, and he's into the end zone. 10-0 Atlanta early. Carolina was struggling, but they would get their mojo in the form of Chris Curtis. More on that later, but Ike McBride, hey, she can do it too. Red shoes in the end zone for the touchdown. 10-7, 4:07 to go in the first half. Carolina weathered the storm. Here's the pass I was talking about. Matt South, look at that, right down the sideline. I mean, on the hashes over there. That is a tough throw to make. Down 13-7, Carolina's got some life. As Chris Curtis right now a top 5 receiver in the SFL. Matt South back to pass. Oh, picked by Jay Miraculous. And I'm going to do something that I don't often do on this show. I want to roll this back. Look at Riley Quintero, Mike, on this. Look at him. He's wide open.
Man.
But
you got to take that check down.
They tried to hit Bacciagalupi in the back of the end zone, and he was open. But Miraculous just makes a stellar play. He comes off of Riley Quintero to make this play. Quintero ends up standing all by himself, and Miraculous gets the pick. That was just an incredible play by Jay Miraculous. Just had to show that on slow motion. So Atlanta gets a huge stop. No points for Carolina. Bryant Dynasty back the other way. Dime. Kay Marion touchdown. 20-7 in the third. Kay Marion is such a fun
How about
player.
her season so far, man?
She's been great. Hey, Riley Quintero back of the end zone, not going to get picked off this time. Beautiful throw. 20-17. Third down and goal. Boom! Shervon Prasad lays out the backer to force a 4th and goal, and that makes it 23-17, a one-score game, but no timeouts for Carolina. Matt South hits Riley Quintero down to the 30-yard line. Tick, 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 tick. Down to 10 seconds left. You can't, in 1 minute offense, Mike, you can't have a check down to the back. Clock runs out on the Skyhawks, and Atlanta wins 23-17 and avoids an 0-2 start. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, for one, number one thought, I think, is Atlanta really played really, really well in this game. And it's good to see Atlanta start getting back to form. We saw BDG Hollywood kind of non-existent last season, right? And now it's good to see the run game getting involved, especially whenever you add weapons like Henry McGee to that wide receiving core, that already really, really powerful wide receiving core. I think that Atlanta, if they can keep this up, they can go on a streak of 2 or 3 wins. I think they could really get some momentum, and this could be an Atlanta team we're talking about closer towards the end of the season. And as for Carolina, you take the L, but realistically, there's a lot of positives in this. For one, Chris Curtis is a great acquisition. He's been really, really good. I think the biggest thing for me highlighting this Carolina team in the offseason was they need help at the receiver position. They need to be better on the outside. They need to be better through the air. And I think that Carolina really showed, Quintero, Curtis, like they're doing a great job through the air. And I think it's only a matter of time before Carolina starts really finding its footing, obviously to complement Ike McBride. But tough loss for Carolina. Back to the drawing board, but there's a lot of optimism here going into week 3.
Carolina reminds me a little bit of Seattle, a little bit of Queen City, young receiving core, not maybe the best in the league. Passing doesn't come easy for these teams, but if you can figure it all out, put the pieces together, you're just as talented as anybody else. $5 super chat from Chris Delro. Tough start, but we'll turn it around. #SkyGang, and thank you, Chris, as always, for your support. All right, back to the highlights and the last one of the night. Let's go to Louisiana. Dwayne Salmons. We teased it in the beginning. Look at him cutting through, breaking tackles, showing that burst of speed, and Dwayne Salmons is in the end zone for the score, 9-0. This was another game full of defense early on. Late second quarter now, Revolution still pitching a shutout. Portland still trying to reach the end zone for the first time this season, but a lot of plays look like this. Coming up unblocked up off the line, a 3-yard loss there for Ezekiel Love in the backfield, and then on 3rd down and 13, the defensive line for Louisiana gets after it. A 3-man rush. Mike,
wow.
You can't do that as an offensive line, especially with how talented Portland's is. That is Chance Wall, and that is a 4th down punt. Late in the first half, 3rd down and 4, Tommy Utah drops to throw and finds John Michael Sudduth. Clean pocket. You know, Louisiana did not complete a pass to any other receiver or tight end until the 4th quarter except John Michael Sudduth. Tommy Utah drops to throw here. It's picked off, and Portland's got a nice return on this one. Leo Morris all the way up to the Portland 27-yard line, and finally the Fleet have something to be excited about in the 3rd quarter. Look at those shirts sink the Fleet. Nice job, Louisiana. Your graphic designer needs a raise. But on 2 plays later, Cyrus Jive gives it right back. Rolliman Hood takes the intercept. This was just the kind of night for Portland, and back-to-back weeks their offense has really struggled.
Yeah, their offense has struggled. They've got to get back to the drawing board and figure something out here. And Louisiana, I think that Louisiana's defense is really undercredited. This performance, I think, showed a lot from Louisiana's defense. They sent a lot of pressures from the outside and moved a lot of pieces around, and they rolled a lot of coverages. Really, really good game plan for Louisiana against Portland.
Watch this 3rd and 2 again, unblocked off the line. Bam. You need that drive right there to get a touchdown and get momentum. Instead, they get a field goal, and Dwayne Salmons pounces right back. Look at that. Boom, and then dot. That is just adding insult to the man on the ground. 23, Salmons number, 2-3 against Portland, and Louisiana would roll on this one, 26-10, as Portland did get into the end zone late, but Dwayne Salmons getting it going. He really struggled in week 1. That was a great game plan from the Revs in this one, and Salmons is earning his keep now. But what do you think? Is it Dwayne Salmons getting back up, or is it Portland's struggles continuing?
I think that you look at a player like Dwayne Salmons, like you said, you bring in Dwayne Salmons, and this is supposed to be a key piece to that offense, and you're paying a lot of money, which is probably one of the most controversial things over this offseason we've heard, is how much Louisiana has tied up in the backfield there. Dwayne Salmons has an excellent game on the ground, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's just pump the brakes a little bit, because Portland now for 2 weeks straight has given up 150 plus on the ground. They did it in week 1 to Vancouver. So before we can say that Dwayne Salmons is earning his keep, we got to see what they do next week. We have to see what they do in the next few. I don't think we can actually make a real, a decision on that until maybe 4 or 5 weeks in. Dwayne Salmons, excellent. That's not to take anything away from his performance, against Portland. But we kind of got to pump the brakes a little bit, because Portland's defense is really, really struggling right now in the run department, and that's something they're going to have to clean up, going to face San Diego next week.
Now, he had 151, and it was an amazing performance. Last season, 151, good game. Good game. This season, 151, that's what 151 is supposed to be. 151 is supposed to be
absolutely
elite. And we looked it up this season. In the NFL in 2023, there was not a single running back who averaged over 100 yards a game during the season, over the course of the season. Not one running back, not Christian McCaffrey, not Aaron Jones, not anybody. And in the SFL right now, of players who have played 2 games, there is not a running back that is averaging more than 100 yards a game. Now I will say Phoenix Jones at 112, right? But Tulsa had a bye this week. We'll see what he comes out with in week 2. Right now, GP Wells is your leader, 92.5. But there's Dwayne Salmons right there, 90. That's great. Right at the top of the list with Logan Lee, who is the reigning offensive player of the year, and then BDG Hollywood and Brad Jones on that list. So I personally, Mike, have been so excited by what we've created here in season 22 with these games. We've seen incredible football in terms of realism, and that's proof right there.
That's all you can ask for. I think that, like you're saying, the numbers match up. The numbers, are realistic. Unfortunately, we had a little bit inflated numbers in season 21, but season 22, we seem to be on the right course. We've seen some incredible things. We've seen some things in these first two weeks of football that we have never seen in the SFL. So it's been a good 2 weeks, and excited to get the third one underway.
Mike, do you like hugs and kisses?
I do like hugs and kisses.
What about X's and O's? You like X's and O's?
I do like
You got
X's
it
and
now.
O's.
I could see the light above it. Mike O'Neill's here to preview.
You would have thought I had a sign in my background.
Seattle and Baltimore. Let's take a listen. Left down 16-10. Dunhill, they're going to keep it in his hands. Dunhill's pass, caught by Stevens.
Look here, Seattle bringing a lot of pressure. Lakewood flips down, dangerous read out of the backfield. Oh, first down.
As Scar Patterson is going to be.
Welcome back to X's and O's. Mike O'Neill here. Let's talk Baltimore and Seattle. Baltimore's key to tonight's game is going to be winning first down for their defense. Their defense has to be able to dial up the pressures like they did last week against Queen City. Bunch empty set for Queen City right here, right? I want you to pay attention to the defensive line. They're going to overload the right tackle. This is beautiful, right? Pay attention to the defensive end right here, okay? He's going to crash outside, and pre-snap, this doesn't look like a blitz, but watch Frank Smith from the linebacker position. When that defensive end crashes out, Frank Smith is going to press the line, and he's going to go on the inside, confusing the right tackle and getting to the quarterback. If Seattle's offensive line can't take these overload concepts, they're going to be in trouble. Let's talk about Seattle. It's all going to come down to execution. One of the big questions this offseason was, can Gus Scott and John Fullerton fill the shoes of Fox Highwind and Tita Queen at the outside receiver position? Well, on this 1st and 10, this is one thing I thought they did brilliantly. I spread formation, 1st and 10, split safety look. LA was sending the strong safety on a blitz all night long. Type attack recognizes it. They put John Fullerton in the slot right here, and they're going to send him on a seam route, okay? I want you to watch the ball placement on this play as John Fullerton is in one-on-one coverage. Type attack leads the ball outside, okay, and allows his receiver to make a play. We need this kind of execution from Seattle if they're going to have a chance to win against Baltimore tonight. It's going to be a great matchup nonetheless. Good luck to both teams, and I'm excited to see it all in the field.
Thank you, Mike, for that beautiful breakdown of tonight's game, and I couldn't agree with you more. The way that Baltimore uses these linebackers, is it going to confuse type attack, or is type attack going to be able to, expose them for their flaw? I think that's the game right here, because
it's a big question.
Yeah, that's the big question. Look, Seattle has not played Baltimore since season 19, and so this is kind of the first time we get to see Seattle play Baltimore in this capacity.
So the big question, like you're talking about, Baltimore did such a good job sending the right pressures at the right time. The big question is, I think there's two parts to it. A is, can Seattle's offensive line handle these types of pressures? 2 is, can type attack use the explosiveness of his legs to extend these plays and get outside of the pocket? Because if that pocket starts collapsing quickly, Seattle's got the personnel to be able to counter, right? But you got to be able to make good decisions at the quarterback position. Type attack has to be able to go outside of the pocket and extend plays, and I think they're going to have to rely on type attack's legs tonight at some point.
Now, Ivory Irvin is an X factor. He had 10 catches last week. He's clearly the best weapon on the field for either one of these teams. I don't think that's an overstatement there, a wide receiver, running back. So can, Amar Bryant Jr. and Daniel Valentine, can these guys lock down Ivory Irvin? That's going to be a big question as well. 75-10 at home, but Baltimore has lost 2 home games in the last two seasons, including last week against the Queen City Corsairs. So if Baltimore were to start 0-2 at home and 0-2 on the season, that would be wild.
Yeah, and I was talking with one of the owners, Paulie Truth, this week, and he was saying he is actually, and I know this is probably supposed to be off the record, but I'm sorry, Paulie. He was saying he's actually more confident in season 22 than he was in season 21 for Seattle this season.
You're supposed to ask if it's off the record or not. Come on, like where's your journalism?
Debatable. I'm new to this, so
Debatable. Anyway, we haven't seen these two teams play in a long time. Both teams look really good out there and play an exciting brand of football. So can't wait to see what they do. That is it for us, for me and Mike O'Neill. But Charles Doherty is coming at you with analysis during the game tonight. It was so much fun having him back in the booth with me in week number 1. And now that I'm not feeling all blah, maybe I can, bring a little bit of energy like Charles did in week 1 after we had that awesome 29-21 Alamo City win over Fort Worth last week.
Big shoes to fill.
You have any predictions on this game here tonight, Mike? Since you can give them.
Yeah. So if I'm giving predictions, I'll say this: Baltimore's angry right now. Right? Baltimore lost a close game to Queen City, to a division rival. Seattle's hungry. These are two teams that both are coming into this game and this matchup with different intentions. I will say, if Baltimore has 2 or more sacks, they'll win. If Seattle keeps type attack clean, I think Seattle can take it.
All right. Well, there you go. It should be a great game. We will join you back here on SFL YouTube shortly. You can just go right to our homepage and see the upcoming live streams. And there you go, Seattle, Baltimore, coming your way next. This has been This Week in the SFL, and we're happy to bring it to you each and every week right here from SFL headquarters and wherever Mike O'Neill is located. From all of us at the SFL, thanks for watching, and let's have a great Monday Night Spectacular. Seattle, Baltimore coming up next.